My name is Scott Barrett, and I am a broker owner of Florida Luxury Realty. We service all of Florida, but mostly the Tampa Bay or the Central West Florida region. And I started my journey into real estate in 2004. Just needed a life change, and I had owned a company prior to that, but I've learned so much more about business being in the real estate industry than I ever did, prior to that. And did very poorly in the beginning of my journey into real estate. I actually failed. Got aligned with something called coaching, and coaching made the world of difference. I went from a failure to very successful. And then I journeyed into broker ownership, which is the same brokerage that I once was a real estate agent. Since then, that was 2009. All I've done is spent all of my time supporting and mentoring and coaching and training and helping agents be successful. I think that my biggest challenge as an agent was really adapting myself to really what I needed to do to be successful. And I'm an introvert. I've stepped out a little better in recent days, but I was not class A person for this business, but I pushed myself into a very uncomfortable position and got coaching, and it was successful. There's a big difference though between brokering and managing and being an agent. So in an agent's world, the agent's in control of their destiny. And then when I stepped into broker owner, now I can, coach and teach and educate agents, but I don't really have that control of whether they go out and take action for themselves. So that part is been a big challenge, but I have learned and adapt to the idea that, you just got to continue to spend time with them and help really to be their accountability person in the journey of getting acquainted and actually taking action for themselves in the business. But we went from very simple, almost like a contact database. So my background prior to real estate, I actually owned a technology company. So, I do have a little bit of a technology background to me. And as I started into the brokering side, interesting enough, I took a different approach. I actually brought in somebody that was a customer of mine, and we wrote some of our own technology. And a little piece of that was, a very, very basic, simple kind of, or I guess, CRM. But really, it was just no more than really a database of contact information. Since then, we did explore into something a little more robust, but it did not have it didn't have any flexibility. It did have drip campaigns, or what you call smart plans, but they were drip campaigns, generally by email. But as I delved in deeper, I realized that we need something more. And I looked, and I literally spent 6 months checking out different products, and ended up picking Lofty. And that was about a year and a half ago. There was quite a few of them, but the big ones were the flexibility to almost entirely come up with everything custom. So with smart plans, you can adapt to something that's already pre-made, or you can just start from scratch. It is complex, but not so complex. It's simple. It's just like anything else. You got to spend the time to learn it. It's just kind of like getting your smartphone for the first time. You just got to learn to navigate it. Then what's really drew me is the landing pages. And it's kind of interesting because I just had a training class 2 days ago with my agents, and I said, and it's not the product, but I said, how many leads have you ever got off of your website? And nobody raised their hand. And it's because that it doesn't have the same power. You can't compete with Zillow. You can't compete with Realtor.com in that space. But when you have something that's more directed to provide a solution, and that's what landing pages do, we're finding the engine of the landing pages and creating those, and the ability that Lofty gives to actually create custom landing pages and stuff like that is totally amazing. So that's where most of our lead generation is actually occurring, is having these landing pages, tweaking them out, customizing them, and then learning how to market them on social media and through print materials and different things using QR codes. So that's been great. But those were the two big pieces. But since then, I mean, your AI was sort of there, but now it's almost unbelievable what your AI is doing, and that's really helping the agents nurture these leads into actual customers today. I'm not as much of a user as the agent, but I've been spending the time in there to understand it so that I can help the agent, and I'm really completely blown away. Being somebody in technology and seeing what this is doing is such next level. But I recognize it in the AI chatbot as well as the assistant. So we're using it in the three spaces. The chatbot. So most of our landing pages include the chatbot. We're also making sure our smart plans execute the chatbot. Then you have the AI assistant. So the agents are really adapting to the AI assistant when the leads are coming in and they're working with their leads, or go back to see what's going on with leads that's been in the system and stuff, and how the AI assistant is, helping recommend their next step and stuff like that. I'm completely blown away, and I can see that you've put a dear amount of time and focus on that part of the system itself. So, but we're using it in those three, and then the AI marketer, where the agent can take the listings that are automatically, the landing pages are made, and then hit the marketing button, and then the AI gives them three options for the text that goes into the social media post. It's really amazing, the advanced features that you're using, like AI, and the flexibility of sort of making it your own, customizing it. You have template stuff, but you can totally go and do completely your own thing. And I think that's wonderful. That if I were a broker owner giving advice to another broker owner, I feel like what we've just started doing, and literally we have this for quite some time and really didn't do this, and is having some kind of a more personalized consultation agents, almost on a one-on-one basis. That's what we're doing to give them a real hands-on environment of learning it. We set up a couple people that are now, I guess you would call them tech coaching. So we're working one-on-one with the agents and literally spending time over, we spend about an hour a week with agents, and it's sort of like coaching. And we go through and we're working with them to tweak all the landing pages, smart plans, and really give them a hands-on experience of using it. And this has only been going on for about 4 or 5 weeks. And we're seeing a significant amount of increase in the lead volume. And the agents are actually able to work with the leads that are coming in because we're really pushing the customized landing pages and stuff. So this is sort of relatively new space for us, and how we're really trying to adapt it better within the brokerage. We're kind of still in the beginning of it, but I can tell you in the next couple months, it's going to grow really well for us, because we've kind of figured out how this needs to be done. But by just pushing a learning, how to document or a video in front of them, it just wasn't successful that way. We realized we just got to sit down with the agents, spend time working with them one-on-one to learn how to navigate the system. And now, I'll be honest, I got 78-year-old agents that are using this and generating leads that, generally aren't techie people. And now they're really getting it, and they're super excited.